This and this. All right, hey everybody who's out there watching. This is Queso Sauce, and we got Chris Gogolin here.
Chris Gogolin.
Hey, we are here, and we are about ready to get started on the OCS selection show. So, thanks for being here, and yeah. So, Chris, I think we have our first pick is going to be Joe Olson, a Rebel spy. Yeah. How do I guess Joe, make your selection. You're on the clock.
Yeah, you're on the clock, Joe, because you're the only one who didn't send me a list ahead of time. So I assumed that you were jumping into chat here to do it live yourself. So who's it going to be, Joe? 15 people to choose from.
So yeah, first pick Joe Olson, and then second pick is Spidey Guy. Is that correct?
Yeah, Spidey Guy's got second. I got lists from him. I got lists. Yeah, well, you're right, Justin. You and Steve did not send in your lists, but I kind of knew what you guys were doing. Steve messaged me a little bit about that, so at least I had an idea what you guys were doing.
What was the idea? Something we can talk about, or?
Well, we'll get to that in a minute.
Okay.
But Joe's pick is in. He's going with Chris Kelly.
Joe Olson has picked Chris Kelly. Okay. So Chris Kelly was ranked in the top 8, wasn't he?
He was number 4.
Number 4. He was the at-large selection. Is that correct?
He was.
Okay. So Chris Kelly is off the board, taken by Joe Olson. Is Spidey Guy with us in chat? Shout out to Casey if you're there.
I don't think he's there, but before we jump on to him, let's talk a little bit about this matchup.
Okay.
I know the yeah, Chris is in chat. He's like, that's awesome because he actually picked Joe. He did. Chris Kelly sent me his list, and his list was Joe and Casey and then Bastion. I'm like, those are the 3 guys above you. I don't think that works like that.
Hey, he wanted to take him down, taking the top down.
Yeah, but it's interesting. You know, that had kind of been the rumor for a while. Joe had talked about picking Casey, and which really would have probably driven Casey nuts to finish second and then not get to choose who he got to pick.
That would have been kind of fun, yeah.
Yeah, but Chris at least thought that Joe was very likely to pick him because he was the only person who didn't have that 11-1 type of month to qualify.
Okay.
He just kind of grinded it out. So.
All right. So like kind of slow and steady wins the race sort of style. Okay.
Yeah. So
Joe Olson and Chris Kelly. Joe Olson at Worlds. Chris Kelly was at Worlds. But neither of them made top 8. But I think they were both in the top half, so to speak.
Well, let's pull up the standings real quick. Just looking at possible deck matchups too. We know Chris Kelly plays lots of Hitco for the light side. Dark side, he was using Black Sun most of the summer, like everybody else. He did switch it up a little bit at Worlds and played the Coruscant CRV deck. So that was an interesting change of his. And then matching up against Joe Olson, Joe has recently played. He played Throne Room with the Farm at Worlds and Watch Your Step and some other events this summer. And then for Dark Side, he kind of rotates around between all the top Dark Side decks.
Okay.
Black Sun, Map, IE, and even the 12-card Hunt Down. So.
All right. Cool. So definitely looking forward to seeing those guys. Definitely 2 top dudes going at it.
Yeah, just looking for the final standings from Worlds. Joe Olson finished 18th. Chris Kelly finished 17th.
Okay.
So they were literally right next to each other.
Yeah, I knew they were in the top 20 or right next to each other, so to speak. So, all right. Yeah. So. Cool beans.
And so we'll cross them off the board. And then we will move on to our second pick. That's Spidey Guy, who I don't believe is in chat. But no. His pick was Silver Glen.
Okay, Justin Branch, friend of the show.
Yes, your previous interviewee.
Yeah, cool. All right, so we have Spidey Guy and Silver Glen. So I remember when I interviewed Silver Glen, he was kind of just like a 2-deck player. He had his OA and he had his map that he really liked to play. Casey also plays a lot of map and a lot of throne room, so
Hmm.
um,
Yeah.
those kind of decks, we'll see if they end up switching or making any different changes there.
Yeah, that should be interesting because if they're both very familiar with map, would they want to continue playing that, or
Right.
knowing that their opponent plays map all the time as well,
They switch
would
to
they want to try
something.
and switch that up?
Yeah, what kind of decks do you think are good map counters out there? QMC
I
or
mean, you can get into a race situation like that against it, but
Diplo maybe?
certainly, throne room seems to do pretty well against it. Hitco, those kinds of decks where
The
you can
mains.
withstand that barrage.
All right.
So, what's up, Justin? You got a question?
Yeah, I'm gonna lean on you for the Twitch questions because running the
Yeah, you
videos,
can't do both.
yeah, it's a little hard.
Yeah, no, it's locked. We don't reset or re-rank per pairing, so this will be the actual
Yeah, we set it up in
bracket.
a yeah 8 side bracket on each person bracket on each side and sort of like our MPC style brackets, right?
Yeah, basically. And yes, Steve, that's exactly how it works. Casey's the number 2 guy, and Silver Glen becomes the number 15 seed, if you will,
Okay.
for the purpose of the bracket. So, all right. So yes, that's been an interesting match. I don't know if both those guys played over 90 games in the OCS. They were both almost perfect attendance for both of them.
Right.
So I don't know if they've played against each other over the last 8 months.
I imagine they probably did at least once out of those almost 100 games, but you never know.
Yeah,
There was a
it'd be
lot of
likely.
players.
Yeah, it'd be likely that they cross paths somewhere in
Right.
there. But
All right. So third is Bastion.
yes, Bastion has the third pick.
Okay. Is he around? Probably. It might be a weird time of the
Oh
day.
no, yeah. So Bastion's first pick was Chris Kelly, who's already
Okay.
taken and off the board. So you can feel confident with that, Chris, that you were high up on other people's lists as well. But he decided to keep it in the family with another guy named Chris, and he's going to go with Chris Worths.
Chris Werfs. Okay. So we've got Bastion and Werfs. That's a matchup that probably doesn't happen too often. Um, I liked seeing earlier in the week the thread, the pictures that Bastion posted that his friends put like a Darth Vader helmet on his head. Did you see that one?
Yeah, that was pretty good, and
Yeah,
they decorated, rolled out a red
red
carpet
carpet and everything.
at his front door for him to come home.
So yeah, shout out once
Uh,
again, Bastion. Congrats on winning the world championship. We'll see how you fare against Chris Werfs, Seattle Indoor region player.
yep.
Definitely one of my favorite players. He's such a good dude.
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
that could be interesting. I know Werfs. Let's see. I've seen him on There Is Good in Him a lot for light side. Watch Your Step, maybe. I feel like. Um,
Definitely a lot of TIG, a lot of events, and then map usually, or he played first order EOPS a little bit at Worlds this year.
okay.
So
And Bastion, we saw at Worlds with Agents of Black Sun and Watch Your Step. I think were the decks that he piloted for both
uh, and pro-
days.
and
Or no?
Profit.
Oh,
I think he's
okay.
Profit one of the days as well.
Okay.
But everybody wants to know why you're still watching The Last Jedi.
Oh, because see, I like the Last Jedi, so it was sort of a troll against everyone. So you know,
Nice.
it's not as bad as everyone thinks. But anyways, we don't need to start that here.
But yeah, and then obviously to see what everybody did at Bastion's house when he got home. But interestingly enough, Bastion won day 1 of Worlds, day 2 of Worlds, day 3 of Worlds, Friday and
Oh,
Saturday,
he won the
and
Friday event too.
he won the Friday event
Okay.
as well. And Chris Werfs won the Sunday consolation event.
Oh,
So
okay.
these guys were both,
Yeah, I mean, I know Chris just loves to play a ton of Star Wars, so
yeah.
um, I know he'll be well
So
practiced on
and
whatever he's piloting. So
mhm. So, but yeah, but it does seem so far like a lot of the top seeds have really cannibalized each other. But then again, looking at the bottom of this list, I don't really blame them because
yeah, it's a strong
you know,
list all the way through. So I mean,
right?
these guys didn't get here by accident. So
Yep. So let's see what we got after that. So Chris Kelly, who was number 4, he's already been picked. Wirfs, who was number 5, has already been picked.
Okay.
Silver Glenn was number 6.
Starting to move
He's
down the
already been
list
picked.
kind of fast here.
So now we're all the way down to Wise at number 7. I have a pick for Wise, but he is in chat if he wants to change it.
All right.
Now would be the time to do so.
Tom Kelly. Tom Kelly.
You're on the clock. Do you want to stick to your list, Tom, and go with who you called out? But
kind of crazy. We got the world champion, and then the next pick is the world's runner-up. So
yes. All right, he's sticking with his list. He's going with Profundity. So we'll see Tom Kelly take on Mike Gem.
Okay, nice. So
and that should be interesting. Interestingly enough, Profundity was kind of one of the people who was just about on everybody's list. Mike, great player, amazing player, obviously part of the best team in the history of the game right there. But he's busy playing other games a lot, and so maybe some people felt like he may not be up to the challenge.
I didn't get a chance to see many of his games when I was spectating to know what he was playing. Obviously, we know what Tom Kelly likes to play. Old allies, watch your step, entanglements.
Entanglements, and trooper entanglements.
Different kinds of entanglements. Just different flavors. But I didn't get a chance. Did you get a chance to see what Gem was playing more often than not, or Mike, if you're out there, can you comment on what you were played?
Yeah, I know we played a game once, and he was using Prophet, trying that out. Of course, he would go with Throne Room. Right. It's definitely a KTOD staple.
It's just a really good deck. It's 59 good cards and a starting effect. So.
Pretty much, yeah. It's you got to keep those high destinies just rolling left and right, and they do that very well. So it should be an interesting matchup, though, because with the decks Tom likes to play, which people were talking about this in the forums earlier about horizontal versus vertical decks, where some decks just like to spread out across the board and they're very horizontal,
or you stack
and then other decks you stack a site and they're very vertical with a pile of characters there.
Right.
And most of Tom's decks are very horizontal. QMC, OA, entanglements, he spreads to 5, 6, 7 sites at a time.
Yeah.
And a lot of the decks that Mike is likely to play would be more vertical decks that would kind of just limit and stack 1 to 2 sites. Yeah. And we'll see how that contrast in play styles works out. I mean, certainly they're both capable of adapting their style, but that would be that type of matchup. Just looking at it on paper.
One of my favorite Star Wars games I ever got to see was a game of 30-second Star Wars between Mike Gem and Tom Kelly at an NPC 2010, something like that. So there was a really good sand whirl in the entanglements deck that just wreaked havoc. But anyways.
Yeah, 30-second Star Wars, especially when you've been drinking, is always a challenge. Oh, and
yeah.
Mike and Greg Shaw are amazing at that game. So
right. It's always fun to watch.
Yeah.
So who's our next pick?
And that would be Steve Baroni.
Baroni. All right, I'm pretty sure he's in the chat.
Oh, we know he's in chat.
What you got for us? Is he just going to pick... I think the speculation was he was just going to pick Justin, but we'll see if that ends up being the choice now that he's got some different options maybe.
He does, and now technically he would be the 5th seed, so that might skew things a little bit, because this would be the 5-12 matchup.
Okay.
With the winner taking on Tom and Mike. So I don't know if he wants to just stack it with one side of KTOD and just be like, sorry, Tom, you got to go through all of us.
That is interesting, because they could definitely, like you said, put it in such a way where they stack one side of the bracket there. So, All right. See, Joe said he was going to try to do a spreadsheet and update me on it. Let's see if that happened or not.
He did post a Google Doc bracket type thing.
Okay, yeah, I'm trying to. It looks like it's loading. Okay, so cool. In case anybody is wondering, that should be on your screen right now. And yeah, we've got Joe Olson, Chris Kelly, Spidey Guy and Silver Glen, Wise and Profundity, and then Slorfic and Wharfs. And we're waiting for the Baroni Stevie Gets pick. So.
Oh, Steve has picked Ross.
Okay, so Steve has picked Ross. I forget what his username is, but it's
RLMD.
Like, yeah, RLMD. I was something like that. Ross had a really good start. I remember at this year's Worlds. We had him on a game or a stream, I think, at some point. It's kind of a blur at this point, but
yeah, he was on game 3 of the stream against Johnny, and won that game on time when Johnny didn't grab a card.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah, Johnny forgot to grab a card. That was an interesting game for sure.
Yeah, actually, watching the replay of that game too, the battle before then, I think they may have miscounted some life force, and I think Ross might have lost 1 force less than he was supposed to.
Oh, really? Okay.
During the battle the turn before, so that was a very close game between both players. It obviously went to time, and they both had like 15 cards left.
We were unsure the whole time of how it was going to turn out because it was definitely a grind of a match. Okay, so Steve versus Ross.
Yep. And Ross played Throne Room Hunt Down at Worlds. Steve played Hitco ISB.
Okay.
Steve loves that ISB deck.
Yeah, he does.
Kind of something he's played really well and really been working on for the last year or two. So.
All right. Yeah, it'd definitely be cool to see some ISB. I've always liked that deck too, even though it's a little bit kind of slow and methodical. It is pretty solid. So.
Mm-hmm. And it's better to play it on a platform like Jump, where you do have more time. Playing in a live game, it tends to time out more in live games. You usually find.
Yeah, that's fair.
So, but since Steve did not pick Justin, that means Justin is now on the clock.
All right.
All Stars, you're up.
Justin, what you got for us? All right, so let's see if
Just checking out the bracket, seeing what he's going to be now.
Bracket is updated, looks like.
He's going to have the winner of Bastion Werfs.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, exactly, Steve. You don't have to worry about your opponent slow playing it because you've got your own separate clock. So.
Yeah. Which I didn't really like when I first started playing GIMP, but I've gotten used to it, I guess, and I've never really had many issues with it. Remember, I played in the first GIMP PC, and I had some issues with the clock, but because basically I just wasn't really aware of it.
I think Justin just called out Tom. Like Tom, the Gemp Warrior.
The Gemp Warrior.
Is that Tom.
Gemp Tom.
Is that who he's throwing down, Justin? Is that? He's taking Tom. He's
taking Tom. Okay, so Justin versus Tom.
That should certainly be interesting. Tom being one of those guys who's only played online. He hasn't played in any physical real life events.
Yeah,
and
he's the Gemp Warrior. So I mean, we'll see if he can, continue that. And he's definitely got a tough opponent with Justin because I mean Justin is just Justin.
He's in the Hall of Fame for a reason. So.
Yeah. Okay.
You look at Tom. Tom plays all kinds of variety of decks. I've seen him playing Old Allies, Watch Your Step. He really liked that Yavin 4 Ops, which is kind of like a mains platform. He was using it for.
Yeah, I've seen him play a lot of Hunt Down and like Coruscant mains on GIMP.
Yeah.
So yeah,
he was really playing CCT for a while until Relatively Unprotected came out.
Yeah. Yeah, which I think
he was doing the whole carbon freeze.
I think you could still play CCT. You might just have to change it up a little bit and not rely on that carbon freeze stuff. But so yeah. Okay. When our next is it Crypto? Who's next?
Crypto would be next, and Crypto did send me his list, and I was surprised when I got Crypto's list. Just at the order he put people in, because at the top of his list was Mr. Yellow.
Okay, so he puts Johnny Chu.
And just going right after Johnny Chu. I mean, I think the consensus is that most people were going to pick around Emil and Johnny. and
Seems like a good idea.
just kind of let them play each other. Um,
Because they're
but then
the
when I started getting,
bottom two.
yeah, they're 14 and
Or
15,
yeah, near the
so
bottom.
yeah, you could just pick Ross, and then the two of them would be left playing each other.
Right.
Um, but to see, uh, yeah, to see Crypto just be like pick Johnny. Now I don't know if Crypto's ever played Johnny before. Maybe he's just trying to, see what all the hype's about. But just have some great games with an opponent he's never played against, or
Yeah, or
if
maybe
he's
he
just that
doesn't. Yeah, he
confident, or
didn't want to
yeah,
pick someone like Bastion or Emil because maybe he wanted to avoid his European brethren out there who were
mm-hmm.
also in the
Right.
OCS. So
Yeah. Well, I mean, obviously being ranked 10th, he would know that he really only could pick the people below him for the most part,
that's fair.
because anybody above him would have already chosen at this point. But even just to put them in the order that he did,
Yeah.
putting Johnny right there and just being like, "Let's go."
All right. So that's well, at least on my screen, looks
Yep.
like our bracket ends up being done after that pick. So
Yeah, and and Johnny's in chat, and he's very excited about it because he's never played crypto, and so
right.
that
Okay.
would be that's
So
gonna be an awesome match. I look forward to streaming that one.
yeah. So that definitely looks like that finishes up the picks then,
What was
because
it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So then that leaves no limit for the eighth spot, and he would have no choice but to then play
Emil.
Darth Link. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Cool.
So we have ourselves a top 16 bracket. Um, that was definitely fun. I like the way that we were able to do that with everybody joining in. So
Yeah, right. These are some crazy games we got here, and
yeah.
definitely gonna be some awesome streaming in the months of October and November for these matchups.
Yeah, so we have the schedule for when the first round has to be completed, or
We do. They have to finish by November 3rd,
November
and we've
3rd.
asked the players. Yeah, we've asked the players, and we'll ask them again because most of them are here in chat. Um, when you guys do schedule your game with your opponent, please just private message me with the time you guys are playing, because we do want to stream as many of these games on Twitch as we can. So if you guys can give us like a day or two's notice, so we can make sure we've got people available to do commentary for it. And if we stream all of the games, which is our goal, then everyone has the same information. Nobody's like, well, I wasn't streamed and you were, so now you know what I might play.
I guess
It's
that's
like
fair, yeah.
all of the games are going to try and be streamed. So we should have lots of awesome Star Wars online for the next 2 months here.
Definitely. Cool. Um, Sweet. So is there any sort of other matchups we didn't get to talk too much about, like Salucci and Emil?
Yeah.
So we saw Salucci. What you got?
Baroni just typed in chat. He's like, Justin, Mike, and I are all going to play at the same time and set up a live feed from the house.
As long as they're all in separate rooms, right? That's the rules.
Yeah.
No help.
They're in separate rooms on separate computers. Yeah. And it should be fine, right?
Right. Okay. Yeah, I shouldn't have brought up the recent unpleasantness, but
yeah. But yeah, looking at the last two matchups, we didn't get to talk too much about those. Crypto, Johnny. Crypto again is more of a horizontal player, playing decks like Diplo, QMC, Imperial Entanglements. He did play Throne Room though, so he is capable of mixing it up. He played Throne Room on day 2 of the Euro Championships.
Okay.
And Johnny played Throne Room and Deal both days at Worlds this year. So
yeah, we saw his Dark Deal deck on stream, and he's definitely played that deck in different variations over the last couple of years. So
yeah, he's used that at NPCs and stuff like that before, and it looked pretty similar. But yeah, I think Johnny Crypto, again, 2 top-notch players slugging it out with each other should be interesting. And then our final pairing was
Salucci and Emil.
And I don't know that they've played against each other really either.
Yeah,
but
so they both
Salucci
made top 8 this year at Worlds, right?
Yeah, I was going to say, did they? I don't know. I think Salucci played Hayes. I think, right?
Yeah, that sounds right. And because Emil played Bastion, that was the game that we had on the live stream for day 3.
Hmm.
Yeah, I don't really remember the other matchups too well. I think you're right though. Hayes versus Salucci. So yeah, they didn't play each other on day 3, but they might have played each other on Saturday. But
Yeah, they both qualified the first month. Justin points out in chat, February they were one and
right,
two. Emil, making the marathon run the last,
he like the last 3 days of the
three.
month or whatever. Yeah, he just
Yeah,
crushed it. I remember that.
he just played all 12 games in like 3 days or something like that. Right after getting back from the European NPC,
Right.
so he played like 20 games of Star Wars in like 2 days or 3 days or something like that.
That's crazy. That's crazy. But hey, whatever you
Yeah.
gotta do to qualify, and he qualified. So
Mm-hmm. So, and looking at Salucci recently, he played Throne Room. He's also done the Tatooine Careful Planning with the Yane.
yeah, I remember that was the deck he played at Nationals, right?
It was the deck
He
he
got top
did
two
very well with it
at
at
that.
Nationals. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, he beat some scrub along the way, and then you know just made it right to the semifinals there.
I like that. That was
And
good.
then and then Dark Side, he played Black Sun at Worlds like most people did, but his other fallback is usually it's the same deck. It's just got a different platform every time. Whether it's Set Your Course, Senate, or Endor Ops.
Right.
Um, it's the same
Matching
combat.
starfighters and
Yeah,
mains on the ground.
it's mains on the ground, and then it's Fett, it's Guri, and it's
Baron.
Baron, and that's it. That's his space. But it's all the matching for those guys.
And some
As long
cannons.
as he remembers to play the virtual Stinger, he should be fine.
I do remember that. That was good. Cool. All
Uh,
right.
and then of course Emil. He played his 12 Angry Men series, so you've got 12 deck lists.
I love the
Uh,
QMC deck he played at Worlds on day 3 with you've got a lot of guts coming here and all of the ability 3 rebels. I don't know if you got a chance to watch that one yet. That was our first game on or in our first match on day 3.
no, I haven't gotten quite that far yet. I'm still on the day 2 matchups. Justin Branch is in chat. Justin, way past your bedtime there, bud.
We did our interview
Um,
kind of late too. He likes to stay up late, so
okay. He's asking for a post the list. Do you want me to post your list, Justin? Because uh, he sent it to me. It basically was all encoded. He basically gave everybody nicknames for how he wanted to play people.
oh,
And
that sounds kind of fun. Maybe we could post all the lists you got onto a thread on the forums, or
I think I'm just going to post it in the chat right now. If
okay.
you okay with that, Silver Glenn? If I just post your list and people can try and guess who's who, because I'll admit I only knew about 4 or 5 of these people, and I was just like, well, I had already known at this point that he was getting picked beforehand, so I didn't have to worry about deciphering his list.
Well, it's kind of clever. He came up with nicknames for everybody. So
Yeah. If he doesn't object, I'll just post the whole list in chat. Yeah, I think he's cool with it. All right, so
that was a lot of typing for a paste.
yeah, it didn't quite come out the way I wanted to. It just ran all together.
Oh yeah,
But
Twitch is kind of weird with its chat sometimes. I feel like.
yeah, so yeah, the way he ranked everybody, the first person he wanted to play was Flight, Card, or Poop. Don't know what that means. His second pick was Shock Jock.
Shock jock.
Yeah, it's like, all right, not quite getting some of these. And then the third was Goat. I was just like,
Is the goat? Is the goat Johnny Chu? Is the goat
is it
Justin? I mean, like, there's so many goats. Like,
Johnny, Justin, Bastion? I think would all consider themselves the Goat,
yeah, I
probably.
mean,
So
there's a whole stable of goats in this list, man.
Shock Jock being Steve would make sense.
Okay,
Uh,
okay.
Winter Veg.
Winter veg.
Yeah.
I I usually like British humor. Is this British humor? I don't know.
Yeah, could be. Who knows? But scrolling further down, you get some of the other ones that were easier to pick out. Like he'll be a lawyer one day, which
That's
that's as soon as Tom Kelly.
Tom Kelly.
Yeah, and
You
then
got
he
that
is a
one.
lawyer, which would be Casey.
And well, isn't Chris Kelly also a lawyer of some sort?
He is also a lawyer.
So
Yes.
confusing.
Yeah, and then the last one, of course, on the list was "Can I lend you a hand?"
Can I lend you a hand? Is that Werfs?
I think that's a shot at worse.
It's got to be a shot at Werfs. Because I mean, Chris, he couldn't lend you a hand. Pretty sure.
Yeah.
Interesting. I think we should post all the lists though. I think that would be kind of fun. Maybe people could have some
Well, I know
discussion
there
on it.
was.
Or I don't know if there's
Yeah, there's some
if people want to
feelings
post,
might be hurt.
I suppose. But if we post everybody's, then everyone's feelings will be hurt. It'll be fine.
I don't think everyone. I don't think everyone's feelings would be hurt equally because looking at some of these lists, there's a few names that pop up over and over and over again, and I don't know that
All
people would
right,
feel
all
like they're
right,
getting
all
picked
right.
on, like they're the worst, where they're the easiest player. That's why everybody kept picking them or something like that.
Okay. I see your point. Well put.
But but some of them did. Some of them were just went the opposite, which I thought was great when you say people like just
Like
going right
crypto,
for the challenge.
who picked
Yeah.
Johnny Chu #1. So
Hmm.
cool. So yeah, that probably just about wraps us up for the OCS show. Unless was there anything else you wanted to make sure we mentioned?
Well, no. Obviously, the rules, of course. You have to play your own games, and
Okay. Yeah.
you shouldn't be getting any outside assistance. These are legit tournament games, and obviously, we do want to stream the game. So, of course, please sure to mention, give us the feedback about the time, and then we can coordinate with ourselves between, myself, Jerry, anybody else involved who's not playing in the tournament.
Yeah. No.
Uh,
Nobody who's playing. I mean, I guess yeah. So they wouldn't have time to do that anyway because they should be preparing for their own games.
right.
Yeah, it would be great to stream as many of these games as possible, and I'm usually around in the evening time to take care of some of them.
Hmm.
So would be a lot of fun to have
Yeah.
everybody on stream for these.
Yeah, and even if you guys are playing some weird times, I do work from home several days a week, so I
Lucky.
may not be able to do the greatest commentary if I'm working from home, but at least I can stream the game. So at least it's then recorded, and then people watch, or we can play it back later and do a voiceover or something like that. So
Yeah, that is a good point. We could also even do like they could send us the game link if we're not able to stream it live, and we could talk over it and stream
mhm.
it that way. So some other
I
ways.
think some guy already does that. So
Oh yeah, I've heard of him. So
yeah, some other clown has a show that he does that with already. But if all else fails, then yeah, we'll try and do that to get the game links and just do replays that way to make sure that we do
for
have
posterity's
video
sake.
video content of everybody's match. Everybody has the same information going into round two,
Yeah, that's fair.
and then that's the fairest way to do it.
Yeah, cool. All right. Well, and
So
also one more thing I wanted to mention in case you haven't already. Right above your video screen, there should be a button that says subscribe. If you happen to have Amazon Prime, you do get one free subscription per month. And it would help us out a lot to have you subscribe to the channel. And we're working on making sure we get all the benefits rolled out for that. But it would help the stream and help keep these things going and make it easier. So we appreciate your help. And to those of you who already subscribed, thank you. Just make sure next month you do the same thing and all that.
yeah, that is the weird thing with Twitch is that you do have to renew your subscription every month.
Right. But in theory, you're going to be coming back here a few times a week to check out awesome content, whether it be your show, my show, streaming games, tournaments, and stuff. So we have a reason to keep you here and have you just click that button. So
All right. Well, thank you everybody for joining in the chat. Thanks to all the top 16 players that were online and available tonight. Obviously made it a lot more interesting having you guys right here to talk about things live. And good luck to everyone in all your matches.
yeah, what he said. So thanks guys for tuning in. We'll see you again next time.